Warriors Abyss is yet another roguelike game I'm covering. Hey, don't hate, I'm trying to cover every launch title for the Switch 2, as well as any new games, and there's just been a ton of roguelikes. And as much as I would want to complain about that, they've actually been really good, so I can't say too much. But let's find out if Warriors Abyss is a good pickup for the Nintendo Switch, or if it's a game you might want to pass on. But before we get started, I want to help you out because I've heard of a lot of technical issues happening recently. So let's just make sure that your device is working great by hitting that like and subscribe button within 5 seconds. If you can't, well then, you might have an issue. Anyway, let's get talking about Warriors Abyss. And stop me if you've heard this one before. A warrior gets taken to a different world that they don't recognize. They are commanded by some deity or spirit that wants them to right or wrong. And surprise, surprise, they can't fully die. Yeah, well, that's basically the same story for every roguelike, but specifically Warriors Abyss, as they are summoned to the underworld by the former king, a king that was usurped by a big evil power, and this former king needed help, so they summoned the help of the warriors, and not just one or two, but no, over 100. They were not playing around when they said they needed help. And that takes us to the first bright spot in this game, a gigantic roster is over 100 characters available, most of them coming from the Dynasty Warrior series, but there's also some from Samurai Warriors, Ninja Masters, and most recently, Atelier Ariza has had characters pop up in it, which is a really welcome aspect of the game. You can tell that they're still keeping up with updates and still making things fresh. Not to mention the fact that nothing is held behind a paywall or anything like that. In fact, just on my most recent run, I pretty much unlocked all the Atelier Ariza characters. But anyway, there really isn't much more to the story besides that. You see, after you defeat a boss, you'll get a little bit of dialogue. You'll even have some options on what to say, but honestly, it's basically two ways of saying the same thing most of the times, and even when not, it's sort of linear and very simplistic. And even after you beat the game, it's still not over. You basically just get the ending screen that you get when you die. There is a little bit more context to it, but very little. There is recognition that you beat the boss, but they ultimately go on and say, hey, but there's more evil you need to destroy. Because of course you do. They want you coming back. This is a roguelike. And your main focus is really just making your build stronger, your characters stronger, progressing them, and moving on forward, and even doing like the challenges. Not to mention the fact that there are a lot of updates coming, possibly DLC, as well as maybe the most important thing, just unlocking new characters. You see, after a run, you're given a currency called karma, and with this, you can actually unlock new characters, as well as this sort of works like a skill tree. If you notice each character that you unlock will have a permanent stat increase. It's minor, but there are a ton of characters to unlock. But not only will you potentially be able to play as that character, you'll like be able to summon that character. You see, your reward or ability to level up in this game happens after each level that you run. You are able to summon a character that will dramatically increase your stats most of the time or give you extra skills, as well as you can actually summon them during a fight to help you out. In fact, you can basically summon your whole team when things get really sticky, and it can get you out of a lot of tough spots. But that's not the only way to increase your power. There's also different emblems and elemental relics that also increase your stats. I really like this level of progression. It's really simplistic, but satisfying at the same time, and it makes you feel like you have a lot of control. And in fact, sometimes too much control. We'll get to that in a second. But there's actually other things that you can interact with that will also aid you, as there are also different items that you can purchase during a run. Now, none of these you get to keep, but you also don't get to keep that currency that you have during the run. It's a red stone. I forget the name of it. I should know because I played enough of the game. I think it's like called Tears of Blood or something. Anyway, not the point. The point is you can purchase items like other summons or health replenishment or Musu replenishment, as well as being able to buy different formations. You see, the summoned heroes you have can actually be more powerful depending on what formation they're in. And this is really easy to change. In fact, when I first started playing, I just asked the king, you can go to this area that is always available. It's like a little podium where you can interact and you can change the formation of your characters. And there's even a spot that just says Ask Enma, who is the king, and they give you the most powerful build. Now, as far as gameplay concerns, anyone who has played Dynasty Warriors will feel right at home playing this, or really any hack and slash. There's a weak attack, a strong attack, a dodge, and your Musu attack, which is a big powerful attack in every Dynasty Warriors. There is also the ability to summon, which is a gauge that has to fill up over time. and you hit R1 for that. And really, that's about it. The only other aspect that you have to keep in mind is just the characters' fighting styles, and they do change a little bit, enough to make things interesting, but not enough to be confusing, which I think in a way is nice. The first, I don't know, 10 to 15 hours, it's pretty cool to be able to switch between characters and still feel like comfortable using them with maybe only a few tweaks to your fighting style because of the character's fighting style. And that's nice, but after a while, it does sort of feel like it's always the same thing. The game does get quite repetitive in that manner, although it's so fast paced and it honestly does take quite a while before that happens, as even your runs and even your challenges sort of feel all the same. But again, there's enough enemies and even bosses that do happen to have the same mechanic, but it still keeps things fresh, especially if there's certain characters that you want to unlock or play as or make stronger. Like if you're a fan of any of the characters, that can really help the longevity of the game. But even if not, I think the game still keeps things rather engaging and fresh for quite a while. Now, the big issue, I think, and the one big problem I foresee people having with this game is there's a tipping point. You see, the first couple runs, maybe even your first like 10, 15 runs, you're not going to get very far. And then you just make like a miraculous run where you pretty much beat the game in like an hour or so. And then you notice, hey, every run is becoming this type of run because you get to a point where you're just overpowered now. Even some of the challenges aren't that challenging, and this is an issue I ran into, and trust me, I am not good at roguelike games. I'm getting better, obviously, as I've been playing a ton of them lately, but it's still not like my forte. And so when I beat the game multiple times with multiple characters, it's not really a strong selling point for people who enjoy a lot of difficulty in their roguelites. And again, it does lead to a point of being like, okay, well, this was fun for a while, but when you add in the repetitive gameplay and you add in the easiness of it, I'm kind of bored now. Now, don't get me wrong, this actually happened for me at around hour 15 to 20, and then they actually did the update with the Authorizer characters, and that was pretty cool. And I'm still hoping that they're gonna add more to the game, and they might. I'm just warning you that you're probably only gonna get about 15 hours out of this game. That was not a bad payoff because I believe the game is $25, it might be 29, and that's still pretty good because the game does look really good, and on the Switch too, it performs really well, it's really fast paced, all the special effects and the magic and all that look great. Although truth be told, even the magic is sort of repetitive after a while because almost all the characters have the same 2 or 3 different magic attacks. They are awesome, and when you perform a summon and a Mushu attack, like craziness happens and the whole screen is lit up. And again, I never had any performance issues, and for this game being so fast, that's really impressive. But yeah, my 2 words of concern are it will get repetitive after a while, and I don't know how it performs on the Switch 1. I've tried to find out, and I actually don't know anyone that has the game and has the Switch 1. So that's something to be concerned about, but outside of those 2 things, I do think it's a really good pickup. And so ultimately, I would give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. But let me know what you guys think in the comment below. Is this a game you're interested in? Are you just done with those hack and slash game or roguelike games, or do you like those type of games? Anything and everything in the comment section below would be much appreciated. I love each and every one of you. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.